even in the beginning of relationships, like with romantic relationships, I feel like I start out very anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not until the relationship is secured in a sense, and I don't mean from like a secure attachment style, just where the relationship is finally like, okay, we're dating, we're in a relationship now. Then I think, and I don't have a lot of awareness of it happening or why it happens, or do you know what I mean? But I think at some point there crosses a threshold where I feel like, okay, this person is now in a relationship with me. Now I go into avoidant. Now I go into pushing away. And it's probably, not probably, I'm sure that it comes from feeling like I was always hurt in relationships. All my relationships that I can think of typically end with pain, right? I don't have a lot of examples of relationships that end with anything other than heartache and sadness and pain and guilt and shame, all sorts of different things. So I'll go ahead and go avoidant and protect myself from the inevitable thing that's coming. Even friendships, same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have anything you want to add to that one?
Will you read it again? There was you broke it down each individually for you, but.
They go into relationships not trying to be pleased or chosen.
Okay. So we'll start there. Are we going to be able to get through all of these?
Yeah.
Suddenly I'm like, oh man, this is a long podcast. We're being vulnerable here. Go into relationships with not being trying to be chosen. Let's see. I definitely, oh gosh, it's so varying for me. Let's see, relationships. I feel like.
Because you're almost avoidant in the beginning.
I feel like, yeah. Let me try to, because there's so many to go over. I can see, I'll just start with our relationship. I feel like I didn't put anything on for us at the beginning. I was very much like.
You mean you were naked the whole time?
I was. I had no, gosh, this is almost hard to say. I feel like it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I was I get to be me, and you liked it or you didn't. It didn't really matter. So I felt like I was in the space of I'm just showing up. And that's actually who you decided you really liked. And then once we decided oh, this is going, and I allowed myself this is going, then it was shit. How? And then I very much went anxious. I wanted to be what you wanted. Then I very much wanted you to choose. And then that did kick your avoidant. And it kicked your avoidant. You chose some really interesting avoidant things that really activated my anxious. So that was the dynamic going into, I guess that's too far into the relationship, because then I was going to be and then eventually I got really avoidant, and because I'm disorganized. Other relationships, yeah, I think I do. I think I almost go into it secure. I go into it with.
Go into relationships
No,
secure?
hold on. Just because it's this really big, this self energy. And as soon as it's more than that, I think I do start avoidant. And, oh my gosh. It's harder for me now to really be vulnerable. Vulnerability in relationship. I don't even know if this answers the question. I'm still figuring this one out. I'm doing vulnerability without being anxious, and I'm pushing through my avoidant with offering some vulnerability. I'm I want to really detach right now. This doesn't feel like a good space to be in. I don't trust it. It's not safe. I'm out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show up. Now, if it's really not safe, there's relationships that I'm not saying, let me be vulnerable here. There's people in my life right now that
they're not getting your vulnerability.
They're not getting my vulnerability. So there's the discernment. But people that I'm just are keying up my avoidant tactics, my avoidant, that I'm fuck this, I'm out. I'm okay, let's lean into this. So I'm going to give a piece of vulnerability. I'm not oversharing. I'm not here's my soul, or here's it all. Are we okay? I'm pushing through, because no. But I'm here's something. I'm going to reach through this avoidant, and like offer up a piece of connection instead of waiting for you to offer up,
Yeah.
these ways. I'm like, I'm going to take this, I'm putting my foot in the ring and seeing where we're at. I'm not just going to be like, oh, or love me.
Yeah.
Be my friend. Even though sometimes I'm like, be my friend, be my friend.
Love me.
So yeah, I think I'm really over explaining. Let's make these faster stuff.
Move it along, people.
What's the next one? Come on, I'm ready.
So secure a people.
Secure a people.
Secure a people.
Secure a people.
When they're uncomfortable or confused, they don't sit and quietly analyze or hope the other person can read their mind to know they're upset. Instead, they directly communicate what they feel. Example, I noticed that you've been a little distant recently. Is everything okay with you and our relationship? Okay. I don't know who this fucking imaginary person is that communicates effectively like that. No, I'm teasing. That's the goal, right?
I want to go first on this one.
Let's hear it.
I definitely don't sit there and hope the other person can read my mind. If anything, I wall it off. I'm like, don't see a fucking thing I'm thinking.
So you go straight shields up?
I go straight shields up. However...
Is that in your anxious or is that in your avoidant? What would you say is causing
avoidant
that?
is actually anxious. It's just how you display it. You're afraid of being hurt. You're afraid of being seen. You're afraid of being rejected. You're afraid of all that. So instead of the going for the love, your way to protect yourself is avoidance. So avoidant is, it's still an anxious behavior, but it's displayed by pushing people away instead of trying to pull them near.
Okay.
But it's still very much anxious. So one is not better than the other, even though sometimes we think avoidance better because you feel safer because you're pushing people away and you don't feel as vulnerable. So you're like, avoidance safe, avoidance safe.
Well, it sounds to me like disorganized is a healthy balance between the two.
Right?
So we should all aim towards disorganized attachment.
What I was going to say, I mean, we're there. So let's just like,
high five, we made it.
Right, we're disorganized. I actually did that. I was feeling insecure in the relationship. I was starting to feel like there was a pulling away with one of our friends, and I invited them to coffee, and I literally said, like, I'm feeling distance. I'm worried about our relationship. And I made that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a great, so I did the thing. Does that mean that I'm done?
That
I'm
means
secure?
that you checked the box off secure attachment.
I checked Nicole Para box.
Yes.
I punished myself for after. I was like, you idiot. How did you went up and you were like, I'm really worried about a relationship. I berated myself. I'm like, I will never do that again.
Wow.
I felt so stupid. And I'm like, how pathetic are you? I totally thought I just...
That's the thing about this, where
Interesting.
trying to do these things that feel far outside of our comfort zone, trying to communicate our needs, right? Because that does create such a dynamic inside of you, or at least inside of me, where I do feel really like I second guess it immediately.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm like, even with you, where I'm like, I just did the healthy thing. And then I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You failed. You're miserable.
Right.
She hates you. You're an idiot. You're so stupid. Why are you talking? Right? All the time.
We were meant to be. We were meant to be. We were meant to be.